Hey there, it's Susie here from Functional Synergy, and this video is all about hamstring release. I can't tell you how many people I see when they first are clients complaining to me about how tight their hamstrings are, and no matter what they do, the hamstrings remain tight. And it's interesting because when we actually look at how they're moving, it makes sense because they're not honoring the anatomy of their hamstrings. They're just trying to go in and feel for a stretch, but they're not actually addressing the hamstring in the way that it's needed. And when they start to do that, then it makes all the change in the world. So in this video, I want to explain one of the most common hamstring release techniques. But before that, I want to explain the anatomy so that you can really understand how the hamstring muscles work. And then with that understanding, when you apply one of these hamstring release techniques, you can really get into the hamstring in a way that's going to be successful for you. When we look at the anatomy of the hamstrings, what you'll see there are three muscles: the semimembranosus, the semitendinosus, and the biceps femoris. And you'll see how they attach to the pelvis and below the knee, so to the tibia or the fibula. Now, in these attachment points, they act on two joints. So they help create extension of the femur as well as flexion of the knee. And this becomes important because this relationship will have an impact on the way we do the release technique. Now, what's important here is that a lot of times when people do the movement of a hamstring release is they often move the pelvis and they flatten through the back. So then the work is more so at the back than it is at the leg. And it's a big reason why people they might feel something in the hamstring, but because of this extraneous work at the back, they're not getting the benefit. When we want to specifically target the hamstrings, we want to make sure that pelvis stays quiet. So when you move your leg, can you simply move the leg in the hip socket and not have that pelvis move? Not have the rib cage brace, not hold your jaw or your neck or clench through your shoulders or your hands. Those are all compensation patterns that are not related to you and your hamstrings. So as you move your leg, can you keep those pieces quiet? The only thing that needs to move is the leg bone in the hip socket. Now, there are a few ways that you can play with this. You can bring that leg up and just take your hands around the leg and hold the leg and practice that way. Or you can take a long strap or a tie around your foot and then move through your hip socket that way. Whichever one gives you the most support, where you can really feel what's going on between your leg bone and your pelvis, and then your pelvis and your back or your rib cage. It might seem like a lot of extra work to be aware of these areas, but I can't tell you the importance of it. If you just spend the time on taking notice of how you're moving, you'll move so much better, more efficiently, more specifically. And that's when you can make the gains with getting better and better hamstring work. And you'll also notice where you compensate. And as we know, when we compensate, we're borrowing from one area in an attempt to make the other area stronger or more mobile. And as a result, because that first area that we're trying to borrow from is not at all really related to the movement, we don't actually make any gains. We make our whole system weaker. So when you can really tune in to what's actually going on, you can make actual changes, solving the problem that actually exists and not the problem that you think exists. So again, when you're playing around with your hamstrings and doing that movement, play around with how that leg bone moves in the hip socket. Keep that pelvis quiet. Pay attention. Move in a range that doesn't increase your pain. And just notice what you notice. If this video has resonated and you would like to receive more of these, do press the subscribe button, press that bell so you are notified, and don't forget to press that like button. And if you think someone else would benefit from this video, please pass it along.